We are the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Plotaholics Live. I am Shane Wilson, and that over there is Mr. Bryan's hand.
No, I might be a bird of prey. We don't know for sure.
But I'm gonna be
the fat pigeon.
There you go.
That's gonna be my superhero name, Fat Pigeon.
Fat Pigeon.
Fat Pigeon. Basically, I'm cosplaying as the Fat Pigeon from the Good Feathers from Pinky and the Brain.
Right.
But I'm being the fat black guy version who's also a superhero.
Yes. Got it.
Yep. Makes sense.
I'm a supporter of all things Fat Pigeon.
Ha ha.
Let's see. Who do we have choking in? We got choking in. Bandit Montgomery is choking in.
From the Fat Pigeon.
Yes. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for what will be our final episode of the Plotaholics Live until the fall sometime.
Yep, this is the season finale.
And what a day it'll be, you know.
What an amazing season that we've had of Plotaholics Live.
And as we've remarked in the past, a remarkably accidental season.
Yeah, because we weren't gonna do it.
Well, we had no plans to. Essentially, what we had originally decided was that we would hold the Plotaholics Live brand as a sort of a special occasion kind of thing.
Yeah.
And go live only when major pop culture events were going on.
Yeah, something really important like a community reunion or something.
Yeah, then cue COVID-19 and all of us are stuck at home. And so we decide that
what the hell else are we going to do?
Yeah, so we decide that, Bryan will log into work via his VPN. I will log into my learning management system, and then we'll just coast on all of that stuff while we tell you guys what you really care about, which is when is the Snyder Cut coming out?
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys for joining us. It has been a pretty successful season. I can imagine that we probably have another one in us when fall rolls around. So
well, we can try. We can only try.
Bryan, I'm gonna save our Zack Snyder talk for the back end of this thing.
I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Does that mean we can make fun of J.J. Abrams some more?
I'm not prepped for it, but he is gonna come up.
Okay, good.
For sure. So, but let's see. I think we should probably start with what happened immediately after we went off the air last week, which is that your girl, Ruby Rose, is out as Batwoman at the
Hey, my girl. That's your girl.
That is my girl.
That's your girl.
So
Ruby Rose.
One season down and she's out. And it seems like based on all accounts that it was a mutual parting. Like it wasn't that she got fired, it wasn't that she quit, it's that they decided that she wasn't a fit.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that from what I understand is that she wasn't really feeling the work schedule and the physicality of it, and she got hurt, and it's like, well, Rubes, you're the lead in a comic book TV series.
Yeah, but how often? I mean, that's kind of that's a weak excuse. I mean, she almost broke her back.
Yeah, that does suck. That sucks. I mean,
there should be.
I didn't realize
working conditions there because she wasn't even the only one that got hurt like that.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I didn't realize that she almost had a Stone Cold Steve Austin like experience with the back thing. Now I kind of feel like an asshole.
Yeah, but it was a stunt gone wrong, and she got hurt, and then another person got seriously injured doing a stunt there as well. So you worry a little bit about like the safety. On the
yeah. Because here's the thing, 8 years of Arrow, what stories did we not hear about? Because Arrow was a very physically taxing show. Yeah. And as someone who's studied martial arts, first degree black belt and all, I've seen some of their fight choreography. I'm like, yeah, there's no way some of these cats ain't really getting hit. Yeah. And some of their falls looked really good, but a little too real for me. So,
so
I mean, it kind of sucks. I hope that she heals up well, and I hope she finds another gig.
She's over that.
Good,
because that happened sort of at the beginning of the run, I think.
All right, well, that's good. Well, I think
she's mostly over the injury.
Well, I think maybe it was the fact that then she got hurt, and then maybe they were now. To her credit, she's not really going out and bashing CW, and CW's not bashing her, which I think is really, really good. I mean, if there was some, well, what if it was just, hey, to Julia? I mean, maybe it's just a matter of, look, she got hurt, she's not feeling it. Maybe she just didn't feel like it was worth it to be in a Batwoman series. Which, I mean, I get it. You know, you have to weigh these options all the time. We as fans, we just sit there and watch this stuff and we're like, oh, this is so great.
You know, she's also been pretty vocal about her own mental health, and you worry a little bit about when someone that might have those sorts of issues, when they get put into a particular kind of fandom like this, because this series has also been attacked for its depiction of Batwoman as a lesbian character.
Why is that a big deal?
I don't know, man. I just really don't. But I also applaud the crew over there at Batwoman who have vowed to replace her with another LGBTQ actress. So at least they're not, going to check out on that.
Sorry, I was just told that we had some echoes, so I'm sort of listening to our. So, and it seems like we're okay. So, well, see, here's my thing.
Yeah, I don't hear. I mean, I'm not getting anything on my end anyway.
See, here's what I don't understand. Well, I'm of two minds, and this is what I mean. I don't feel that a lead character that's female always has to be depicted as lesbian. I know it doesn't always happen because it doesn't happen with Supergirl. She's not depicted as lesbian. But I think that why does it matter if she's a lesbian? It's not like it's being made so super central that she can't be herself without being I mean, it's weird to me that it's an issue with people.
Right.
It really shouldn't be. And I mean, you know what? If it really upsets you that there's an LGBTQ character that's the lead of a series, then maybe there's something wrong with you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the real honest answer, right?
Right. And representation does matter. It absolutely does matter. And when I was saying I'm of two minds, it's like, and I was getting ready to say, why does a strong female character have to always be a lesbian? But at the same token, it doesn't matter. As long as people are represented and people have someone that they can look up to, that's what matters. So if the female,
and a couple of actresses have thrown their names out there, and Bandit mentions Cameron Grimes as one. Also, Stephanie Beatrice, who plays Rosa Diaz.
I don't want her to get it.
Yeah,
I want my Rosa Diaz. I want Rosa Diaz.
I don't think that she can. I don't know that one necessarily precludes the other.
No, I don't want to risk it. She must.
You don't want a Michael Scott situation, right?
No, I do not. No, I want my Rosa Diaz in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. As long as there is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, she is not allowed to not be Rosa Diaz.
That's fair, and she is so great on that series.
She really is, because Rosa Diaz is so far from her general demeanor.
Yeah, right.
It's not even funny, and she does it so flawlessly.
Yeah.
So I mean, but here's my thing. Maybe Ruby Rose just wasn't ready for this type of step, because really, and I'm not a connoisseur of her work, but from what I'm understanding, she went from doing Orange is the New Black after doing some modeling and so forth. And then she was in John Wick Chapter 2. And then she got this part. Maybe
also,
she just wasn't.
Let's not forget that she was in The Meg.
Oh, I'm an asshole twice. I forgot about The Meg. But maybe she just wasn't. Maybe she just wasn't ready to jump into this type of fandom for this type of series, because it's not for everybody.
It really. I mean, watch what happens with those. with the women that were cast in Star Wars and what happened with them on social media and how they had to sort of retreat from all of that. Like this is
that
the
still has me
toxicity.
pissed off.
Yeah,
That
the
still has me
toxicity in these fandoms is
It's
incredibly
real.
problematic.
It's
Yeah,
real.
it is.
If my books ever became like a franchise and they had a fandom and there started being these toxic ass types, I would so troll them on social media and call them out.
And a lot of comic creators do that, but I don't recall, and I could be incredibly wrong here, misspeaking, but I don't recall ever hearing George Lucas come out to defend the choice to include those young women in.
No, I don't recall it either. But I think at this point, George Lucas got his money. He went to the bank and said, "Fuck y'all."
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Where can we go next? I guess I want to see how much of a roller coaster I can take you on today.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
We'll start
I'm afraid of regular roller coasters, so I'll take this one instead.
Yeah, so I think that this is considered a good news moment.
Ooh, I like good news.
Although it's not all the way confirmed, and we don't know when it's going to happen as a result of what's going on in the world. Edgar Wright teased a Scott Pilgrim versus the World theatrical re-release.
It is an epic of epicness. That is for sure.
Yeah, so Edgar Wright tweeting on May 20th, if you thought watching Scott Pilgrim from home was great, wait until it's back at Dolby Cinema, only in theaters. Dolby, yes. So this is as part of a partnership with Dolby Cinema and really could get back in there. It's been a decade. So
all I know is this: if they release it in 3D, I am so there. Yeah. I will risk the COVID.
I mean, new 3D is so good.
It really is, and I would love to see some of that cinematography and that and those special effects in 3D. Oh my god!
Yeah. This movie also I think it would benefit from a re-release because it's a film that didn't do as well as I think it should have the first time around, and gradually over the last decade, a lot more people have discovered it on Netflix and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that re-releasing that could be really great.
Absolutely. And Sex Bomb lives, man. Sex Bomb lives.
I want to rewatch that movie so bad. I haven't watched it in a long time.
You know, honestly, like I think in the next 5 years, virtual reality is going to become way more of a thing. I can't wait to watch this movie in virtual reality. I hope I live long enough to watch this movie in virtual reality.
Yeah.
I think that's probably only the second time in my life that I said that I hope I live long enough for something.
Yeah.
First time it was, and this is sort of the same thing. I hope I live long enough to have a kid. And it's like, I hope I live long enough for my kid to be double digits. And then it's like, well, I hope I live long enough for my kid to, reach milestones. Now, I hope I live long enough to see Scott Pilgrim versus the World in virtual reality.
Well, and all of those desires are of equal importance, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my son, Scott Pilgrim. I'm sure my son understands.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure where you're going to land on this news, but a new Jackpot film is in development at Sony from Mark Guggenheim, who you know as the co-creator of the Arrowverse.
I'm not familiar with Jackpot, but cool.
It's
just, I see Spider-Man.
So Jackpot is going to be another part of that Sony Spider-Verse.
Gotcha. So Sony is really trying to milk out some Spider-Man stuff, because the bottom line is that fans want Spidey and all of his gallery back at Marvel. So Sony is really trying really, really hard to show that they can do something with it.
Yeah, and I think that from what I understand, the Spider-Verse over there is they're trying to find ways to more explicitly link the Spider-Verse with the MCU, which I think is only the smart thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Because at this point, you can't remove Spider-Man. You can't remove him from the MCU. Well, the fan backlash is going to be too hard.
Yeah, the only thing that if you do remove him from the MCU, you just have to take him. Like, you can't do this back and forth thing anymore. Like, it has to either be all in or all out.
Exactly. And I think Sony realizes that if they do yank Spider-Man from it, it's going to be
Sony's
bad.
playing Trojan horse style. And what if they're using Spider-Man as the Trojan horse to unravel the MCU?
Well,
Get
here's
him
the
in
thing.
there and get him like just entangled in all of the major plot lines, and then 5 years from now, just yank him out.
Oh, that would be so horrible. You want to talk about the biggest heel in the world? This will be worse than Hulk Hogan joining the NWO. Okay, yeah. This will be worse than the Dudley Boys starting a riot in the ECW arena in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and Bandit, I got to give Bandit some credit. You know, Disney. Here's the thing: if Disney just owned everything Marvel, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, honestly, I would rather them sell Lucasfilm to Sony at this point, and
like, that would be a hell of a trade.
Give us Spider-Man for Star Wars.
Yeah, and let Sony. You know what? Let's get Iger on the phone. Is he still in charge? Is Bobby Boy still in charge?
I think he is.
See, Bobby and I haven't spoken since that time on the yacht.
You know who went to TikTok is the person in charge of Disney Plus.
Oh. Well, I gotta get my contacts on the phone, Shane. I gotta get a Joey Banana and Bobby Numbers. I gotta get these people in charge. I gotta get these people on the horn, Shane. Yeah. And it's like, look, guys, this is what we need to do. This is good for business for everybody.
I agree. It is.
Make the trade.
But then what happens to the Mandalorian?
Damn it!
Or do we have a new Spider-Man situation where they're like, you can keep the Mandalorian?
Yeah, you can keep the Mandalorian on Disney Plus, but we get everything else. All right, fine. We'll keep them. Wow, that's just a lot of murky waters to deal with.
Yeah, it is. And we already know that we're not going to get the Merc with the Mouth in the future. So, I didn't mean to fire you down.
It's okay.
Fire you down so much.
But you know,
drop this next bit on you.
But I will say this though. Last thing on that last one is that Mark Guggenheim. I think that if he's handling something Spider-Man related, it's going to be in decent hands because he's done an amazing job with the Arrowverse. I love the Disney does about. You know what? I recently watched. And it's going to be part of our mini review, so I'm not going to give it away. But I will say, I shaved my balls for this.
Yeah,
and thanks Kershaw for coughing in your elbow. I really appreciate that. I don't want the vid. I'm not saying that you have the vid, but I also don't want to risk it because you might also just have strep throat.
I mean, anybody could have anything.
That's true. You know what? I think, Shane, I'm going to come up with my own illness. I'm going to give it to myself. I'm going to call it tanocephalitis. Tanocephalitis. And it's going to have the following symptoms. You're going to have an overwhelming desire to drink Yingling Lager. Yingling Lager.
Oh, I thought you said Yingling water. I was like, okay, well, that's a creative way of saying beer.
Well, you know what? They can have both. That's fine. Your left index finger is going to permanently be inside of your right nostril for reasons, and you're just going to get randomly angry at stupid things. Why's the bird gotta fly? You know,
why is the bird gotta fly?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't you just walk on your own two legs, you lazy prick?
I know this is some news that you're not incredibly excited about, Brian, and I wish that I didn't even tell you this before we talked on the air today, because I want your like unfiltered reaction, which I assume will just be one really long screaming of the F word. But
probably
Scarface.
Oh, why? Why is this a thing? Why is this a thing? Why is this happening? What in the actual? No. I refuse. I do not accept this. I do not sanction this, nor do I endorse it. It is not happening. No. Kiss my ass. And you know what? Anyone who is doing this, all of them should be forced to drink Budweiser for the rest of their existence. And when they die, we all get to drink the good stuff, and they're stuck with Budweiser.
So for those of you who can't see the screen for whatever reason, Brian is reacting to the fact that the Coen brothers have been tapped to develop a reboot of Scarface.
F them. Damn Coen brothers, why? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, we were too busy with the fact that we could, that we forgot to ask if we should.
Yeah, you know what? Get some of my contacts on the phone. What about Aardvark Bananas? Get him on the phone. And, well, the Candyman reboot.
Well, Candyman is technically a sequel, right?
Technically, it's a sequel. That's technically
which feels different. And I also, for whatever reason, trust the people in charge of Candyman.
Yeah, Jordan Peele's involved in that, so I trust. But you can't do a sequel to Scarface. Is Tony Montana's long lost son Boney
it's not a sequel? And again,
it's just a straight up reboot.
And here's where the vocabulary gets really important, because if you're rebooting it, then that means you're casting someone new as Tony Montana. You're doing that movie again with new people and new technology.
Yeah.
But do we need that?
No, we don't. Scarface is just fine the way it is. Just fine the way it is. Now, if you want to sort of do a reimagining of it, here's an idea. Do a similar story with a different setting and a different name, and just say inspired by Bryan.
Don't even do that.
Or don't do that. Come up with a new freaking idea.
This is what I talk about all the time, right? Like, if you're going to come up with an even slightly different story, just call it something else.
Yes. Oh my God, what's next? Are we going to reboot New Jack City next? Shut up. Shut up. Why would you put that into the universe? Oh my God. No. No. No.
Oh man. Well,
no. You know what? I swear to God. And I'm, you know what, Shane, you are my witness. I'm going to pray right now. Father God in heaven, who I love so much, if any of my books ever become movies, any of them, they will not, please make sure that they are not rebooted. I will put it in my will that they can never be rebooted. Anyone who does reboot them will have to be forced to drink hot lava. Thank you, God. If you can make that happen.
Here's an interesting thing. What if your book was optioned for a movie, right?
Okay.
And then you watched it and it was awful.
Oh, the Christopher Paolini situation. Well, then that's okay. If it's god awful, and I'm talking if it's Aragon awful.
Yeah.
The movie, now I have never walked out of a movie.
Give somebody else a shot, right?
Then all right, well, so that's different. So if they make a movie based off my book for like $100 million and it only makes like $2, then yeah, please reboot it with something better. Please. Yeah. But I would also make sure that I had creative control. I would so J.K. Rowling that shit. It wouldn't be funny. But no, I do not need a reboot.
Yeah, I think that any living author that signs their rights away and doesn't even make sure that they're listed in the contract as an advisor or a contributor in some way to the rewrites, like that. You look at some films and you see that people
Percy
are not
Jackson.
included. Yeah, right, exactly. And like, how can you as a writer just give that stuff to somebody else entirely and trust them,
Seriously. And honestly, I think that now is the best time for authors if their books are going to be optioned, because it's like, well, if we can't make this into a movie, we don't have a deal. Fine, bitch, I'll go to Netflix.
Right, exactly.
That Netflix money will come right in. Better yet, I'll go to Amazon.
Yeah.
Bezos may be the devil, but I can get some of that $1 trillion.
That's right.
Mama Wilson in the house.
Right along the same lines, we found out today, Bryan, that Labyrinth is getting a sequel.
Is that necessary?
Again, I don't think so. I don't think any of this is necessary.
It's so unnecessary. And David Bowie is dead. He's barely cold in the ground because David Bowie's so freaking hot. It'll take him 5 freaking years to cool off in his casket.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, David Bowie.
I will say that if we still had David Bowie, I would totally trust Scott Derrickson to direct this film. Scott Derrickson, really, the director of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean, cool.
But yeah, like, he's got the right kind of mind for this kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, how do you do this without Bowie?
Right. And I don't get it. Like, why? Why is this a thing? Like, is this so we can have Jim Henson's name in the news? Like,
you know what, Bryan? Again? I think that what we're getting today is a bunch of news based on all these directors being stuck at home watching old movies for 3 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? I can make a sequel to that. Yeah,
I can make this better. You know, with better technology, I could make a good version of the Garbage Pail Kids movie. Yeah.
Honestly,
No.
I would watch a reboot of the Garbage Pail Kids. I don't know why I didn't include Garbage Pail Kids as one of my shitty movies for shitty movie.
I don't know why you didn't either. Hey man, there's time.
It is one of my favorites, but it's not any better / worse than the 5 that I have for you.
Touche.
Which is really like the dead monkeys at the bottom of the barrel.
Woo! Oh, I can't wait to tap dance onto that dance floor.
It's gonna be bad news, but I have to tap dance on your tap dance floor first. I think I just stroked out a little bit.
Careful! I don't want Mama Wilson to blame me for having to take care of you again.
Reboots of Scarface, sequels of Labyrinth, get them out of here. We don't need them.
Yeah, absolutely not. Not necessary. Now, if they were going to do a Labyrinth like television series, like on Hulu or Netflix or whatever, see, I'd be kind of okay with that if it was a sequel series,
like a complete sort of reimagining.
Yeah, or a sequel series
in a different medium and all that.
Yeah, or a sequel series or something like that. That would be okay. Why make it into a movie?
Yeah,
not necessary.
Now, this good news comes courtesy of FX revealing its fall lineup, which includes an epic and record-breaking 15th season for Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Fat Pigeon Happy.
Yeah, and it also includes an American Horror Story spin-off series called American Horror Stories, which is another anthology series from Ryan Murphy that is going to be weekly standalone stories, almost like Creepshow, that kind of anthology, as opposed to the full
like a
season long.
Arc.
Yeah. So, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the first live action sitcom to make it to 15 seasons.
I love It's Always Sunny. I love
still a long way from episode, like breaking the episode record, but 15 seasons.
Far. Yeah, that's still a big deal because it takes a lot to get to that point. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it weren't for Danny DeVito, they wouldn't be this far.
That's true. And honestly, I think a lot of kudos go out to FX as well, because FX is a place where they really try to cater to their creators.
Yeah, and they don't try to make them like fall into, this wholesome stuff. They let them do. FX being willing to push that standards and practices envelope is amazing.
Well, and also the fact that they don't require full like network runs, like they don't require 24 episodes a year. They pretty much let the creators film and do things on their schedule
and what works for their vision.
Whatever works for them. Yeah. So,
because the League would not be as funny if it was like a 24 episode series, because just as you're starting to get tired of certain things, now we get to a new season, which freshens it up again.
Yeah. So and Always Sunny is a lot like that too. And I think that they've done somewhere around 12 episodes for the last several seasons.
Yeah, because It's Always Sunny, as much as I love it, that's a show like Archer that's very hard to binge, because you start to realize that you're supposed to hate these people. Like, yeah, they're funny in this time, but you start hating them because everyone knows people like them. So it's like, okay, I got to step away from it.
I don't know. I don't know what it says about me, but I can binge it pretty easily.
Can?
Yeah, I can.
Well, maybe I'll try. I'll try again.
Archer is harder for me to binge, and I don't know why that is.
I love Archer, though.
I've enjoyed it, but it's just not something that I can sit there and watch for a long time, and I don't know why.
Well, you know what? For me, it was hard for me to be into like adult-oriented animation for a while.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, we had like Felix, and that was like essentially porn. So I was sort of like shying away from it. I think it took until South Park and Family Guy for me to be willing to give these adult situational cartoons a fair shake. And now, as our technology has improved so much, that might end up being the wave of the future. It may not be animated in like cartoony way, but we might start getting some of these shows that are computer generated, because it's easier to do than go on shooting schedules.
I saw an article today that echoed what we talked about last week, which was that we're about to get a surge of animation on television, especially because TV needs its fall schedule. So they're greenlighting a lot of new cartoons and stuff to try to fill up that fall schedule.
Right. And it's just cheaper to do. And it's easier to have your budget be high for computer stuff than it is to build sets, practical effects, explosions, and stuff like that, where it's easier to just have people come in and record their lines.
Yeah, or record them from home.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that's cool about this COVID situation is that we're proving, we can work from home if we got to.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that might be a good thing.
It's very easy for animators and voice actors to work from home.
I want to be a voice actor.
Right?
I think I could
a fun job.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do this. Anyone that knows anyone looking for a voice actor, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm a fat pigeon.
Now, Bryan, the big story of the week, for better or worse. The fact that HBOMax, or I guess Warner Brothers, has technically has confirmed the existence of and the forthcoming release of the Snyder cut of the Justice League.
Oh, why? The movie sucked. Why do we need a cut? It's not going to take the suck off of it.
Now, Bryan, I told you yesterday when we were doing something, I think we were recording the podcast, that I was coming around on the Snyder cut.
You're coming, now, you are coming around. I'm being the mean one,
which is strange for me.
Yeah, because you and I are usually on opposite ends of the spectrum, because I watch director's cuts happily, and you're like, if this isn't what we got in the theater, I don't want it. But now we're on opposite ends.
Here, allow me to make my argument.
All right. Well, you know what? Real quick, while we've got people watching, why don't you send us how you feel about this? Are you yay or nay for the Snyder cut? Yeah. And keep why short.
Yeah. So I've read a lot about this week, because for a long time we heard that there was no Snyder cut, right? Like
for years they've been telling us.
Yeah, that there was no Snyder cut. Now, what I've read in the last week-ish is that there is a Snyder cut, that when Zack Snyder finished principal photography, he submitted his cut, whatever it was, to the studio. Yeah. Shortly thereafter, whenever they were in post, Zack Snyder's daughter killed herself. Mm-hmm. And so Zack Snyder recused himself from the production so that he could grieve, understandably so.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the point that the studio brought in Joss Whedon to finish the project, and Joss Whedon did a ton of reshoots. Now, there are villains in the Snyder cut that are not in the final version. There are Aquaman and Flash subplots that are not in the final version. The Snyder cut, it looks like, is going to be released as a miniseries because it's 4 hours long. Because what he does is he does origin stories for these characters that hadn't gotten them yet. Cyborg has a lot more screen time. Darkseid is in this film. Darkseid was not in the film that we got. You know what I mean?
He was alluded to.
Yeah, and so the more I read about what could be in the Snyder cut, the more I'm like, that's not the movie we got. We got a shitty movie for sure. But this is sort of coming from like the creator part of my brain, right? Mm-hmm. We were talking about like if your book got turned into a movie, right? Like he had a vision, he wrote this script, and then he made it, and then he stepped away because he thought that like he could trust these people to finish his vision out, and the studio changed it.
Okay.
So I want to see it because I think, now I don't like Zack Snyder films as a general rule, but I think that in this case we owe it to him to see what his art was and make that judgment based on what he wanted us to see.
All right, that's fair.
We also found out that you can, but we also found out that Warner Brothers is going to give him something or like $30 million to finish it, do any kind of reshoots and post-production special effects.
Oh, so that's why we have to wait another year. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. And once again, guys, please give us your thoughts on the Snyder cut.
And maybe you don't give a shit about the Snyder cut, in which case,
or just say, if you don't give a shit, then say you don't give a shit. It's fine. I know Mama Wilson don't care. She got more important things to do.
Yeah, for sure she does.
Yeah. I'm still waiting on that pie though. I know she never asked me if I wanted a pie, but I'd like one. So Kelly Russell's saying yay for the Snyder cut.
Yeah, Kelly
He's
Russell, a
side.
big fan of the way that Snyder looks. Thinks Snyder's adorable, very cute.
Well, Kelly Russell is also huge on Superman and huge on DC, but Kelly Russell is a huge Superman guy. Huge into Superman. Matter of fact, Kelly Russell's car is so freaking cool. I think it's from Krypton. Because it's got House of L glyphs all over it.
Yeah, well, I think that it's gonna be. I'll give it a watch, and I'm not
saying that I won't watch it, but my thing is, I'm so tired of having heard about it for the last couple of years.
There's fatigue for sure.
I'm totally fatigued by it, and I really just feel like we got a horrible movie, and I don't want to be reminded of it. I really don't.
Yeah.
I wish that we could have gotten these characters. All right, yeah, Kelly Russell has the House of L emblem on his wedding ring. So, but I really wish that we could have gotten something better. And even when I see the Snyder cut, and if I love it, it's still gonna hurt because I got a shit movie. I wanted Justice League to be the second coming of the Avengers, and I didn't even come close to getting. What did I get? I got shitty CGI. I got awkward ass acting, and I got a complete waste of J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. I got a second waste of Ben Affleck as Batman. And then, oh my goodness, I got the horribly CGI'd upper lip of freaking Henry Cavill. And you know what else I got? I got a wasted Arthur Curry. Thank God Aquaman came out not too long later and fixed it.
Well, and this also gives me some hope as well, because many members of the cast, including Jason Momoa and Ben Affleck, have vocalized their support for releasing the Snyder cut.
That's cool. And you know what? I this is what I do hope. Now, that's my thing. I'm anti the Snyder cut because I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah.
And I'm tired. I don't want another reminder that I got a terrible movie. I also don't want to feel disappointed in Joss Whedon. And now, granted, none of that was Joss's fault. He did what he could. Yeah. I also don't want to be reminded that Warner Brothers is terrible to DC.
Well, and this is, I think, sort of at the heart of this whole thing, right? If you hire somebody to make a movie, then you owe it to them to either kick them out early,
or let them finish their mission,
or let them finish their movie, right? Like, and I know that that's not the way that IPs work, but I feel like as artists, as creators, like and he's a director, right? So like, and he wrote the script for this thing.
Right.
So he should be allowed to make, if you hired him, he should be allowed to make the movie that you hired him to make.
And let him finish it. Yeah. Now, here's my thing. I recently rewatched Aquaman yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. And I realized in watching Aquaman just how amazing Jason Momoa was as Arthur Curry. The amazing job that he did shaking off that ridiculous moniker of Aquaman being useless.
Yeah.
And he wasn't bad he felt rushed in Justice League. Right. He felt the only ones that didn't feel rushed only one that didn't really feel rushed was Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And the Flash, but the Flash wasn't even barely introduced.
Right.
So maybe this will be a good thing. Maybe by 2021, I'll be a little bit more excited.
Yeah. Now, because what happens when studios interfere like this is you get this like weird hodgepodge, like almost like a buffet of different people's ideas. And so it feels fragmented, and it feels like several different movies stitched together.
Yeah. And and Steppenwolf is supposed to be way more badass of a character than what we got. Steppenwolf is supposed to be a step below Darkseid, and Darkseid stands toe to toe with Superman. The only other cat that stands toe to toe to Superman is freaking Doomsday.
Right. Now, and we've, the Batman versus Superman fiasco is definitely a strike against Snyder. But if you hired Snyder to make a trilogy, then let him make his trilogy,
Yeah, and if you're not going to let him make his trilogy, you shouldn't have let him got so far in and then wait for the guy to furlough to grieve, and then what you should have done.
Affleck to even acknowledge this, I think, is because this guy was like ready to not be around Batman ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's willing to be involved, which is cool. Because the thing is, Ben Affleck don't need Batman. Ben Affleck can do whatever he wants. He don't need Batman.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. If this proves to be I hope it's far superior to what we got, including seeing Superman in the black outfit.
Yeah.
If this is far superior, like it makes Justice League go from Troll 2 to say MCU caliber. Does that bring us Ben Affleck back as Batfleck?
Well, and I saw an article today that said who wins the Batman war of 2021? Is it Robert Pattinson or is it Ben Affleck? And how much does a Snyder cut, how much does it complicate what DC's trying to do with like kind of trying to shrug off the Snyder years and move forward in a different direction?
Well, Fat Pigeon thinks that DC doesn't even really know what the hell they're doing. They don't. And what they truly need to do, they need to get a Kevin Feige type in there to iron this out. Now, here's the thing. DC should be way bigger than the MCU. The DC universe should be. And here's why.
Names are all so much more like household names than anybody that the MCU had before the MCU.
Other than Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because Captain America was big in like the 80s, but no one really gave a shit. The X-Men, yeah, but again, no one really gave a shit.
Well, they don't really count either, right? Not yet.
Not yet, no. No, they don't. And then, like, who else from Marvel? Like, no one really knew who Thor was. Like, or Iron Man.
Kevin Feige took a bunch of B-list heroes and turned them into, like, culture-defining superstars. Yeah.
Right. And if you weren't a Marvel fan, you didn't know who these characters were. Right. Everyone and their mom.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, especially because I knew comic books as a kid. I didn't know who the hell Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord? What the hell is that?
A rocket raccoon.
A rocket raccoon, a talking tree, and a green chick.
Yeah.
I mean, but everyone and their mom knows Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They are the holy trinity of comic book. Matter of fact, if you play DC Universe Online, your mentors are Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. Now, if they had someone who knew what the hell they were doing, because guess what? Warner Brothers has all the DC property. They could make all of them.
This is the thing. I think that where DC messed up is in trying to copy the Marvel model. You don't have to have an extended universe.
No, just make individual movies of these characters.
Good movies.
Yeah, if you just make good movies, you can throw in Easter eggs, and then if it's really going to work, then you can have one big, huge event to bring everything together. That's what Marvel was starting to do.
Yeah.
If you recall, that's all they were doing. They was like, hey, maybe this can work. And it did. So that's where DC screwed up. And now their TV shows. Now, granted, a lot of people refer to the CW Arrowverse as sort of a kick in the face of DC characters. And that's their prerogative. Right. I don't know these characters as well in their comic book medium as they do. But they're making money.
Yeah, they're getting it's the most successful version of DC that we have on the screen right now.
Exactly. So I mean, maybe this will do good, and you know what? Maybe it can be some good competition for Marvel. Because if you have when DC and Marvel were at their height during the golden age, they made each other better with cutting edge storylines. Yeah. So maybe this can work too.
I think that we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about what the fallout from this whole Snyder Cut thing might be. 2 other films released in the recent past that have also been plagued by studio interference. Some people online are calling for the director's cut of Suicide Squad and The Rise of Skywalker.
You gave us shit movies. Can't that be enough? You know what? I'm done with Star Wars. I want no more Star Wars. Honestly, I'm not going to watch any more Star Wars for quite a while. Probably not until the next season of The Mandalorian. Like, Rise of Skywalker just really ruined Star Wars for me.
I've been watching the Clone Wars animated series. I've been working through that. But I'm not watching any of the movies or anything.
No, I'm done with the movies. You know what? Bandit definitely, I'm on point with you.
And
Love
J.J.
Gotham.
Abrams, like that movie was, now there might have been studio interference and they might have made cuts or whatever, but that was still J.J. Abrams' movie.
That's all JJ's fault. F you, JJ. Abrams.
Yeah, JJ was in all of the press tours. He was in, like, that dude. You can't take it back. The Suicide Squad, Ayers has repeatedly said that the movie that was released was not the movie that he made.
Yeah, because I mean, they're even saying that they had so much more for Jared Leto as the Joker.
Yeah,
that got left on the cutting room.
The climax of that film was supposed to feature the Joker.
Right. So that I'll probably get into. You still gave us a shitty movie, but I'll see what you gave me. I'll see what else you have for me. Star Wars, you know what? No, don't want it, don't need it. F you. And I never thought I'd say that about Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I'm
glad that I was able to get your head right on that movie.
I still think it's so hilarious. I go into our for the uninitiated, we did our Rise of Skywalker podcast. And this was over 2 hours. This is close to a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, it really
is. I go into this so excited. I love Star Wars, and it was so great. And then we're talking. It's like, yeah. Oh, I hate this movie. I only bought it.
Do it to you, man.
I only bought it so I could say that I've got all the movies. So in the future, when I'm ready to do another Star Wars binge, I've got them all.
You know, I want to watch it again. I want to watch all 9 of them.
I'm not going to do it again.
I want to watch all 9 in order, like chronological order. But here's what I'm afraid of. The feeling that I got at the end of Suicide Squad, I feel like it's going to be amplified times 9.
By the way,
the ending that I get.
By the way, you guys have to see Shane Wilson's drunk review of Suicide Squad. It's fucking amazing. It's so amazing. You know what, man? Harley Quinn is a character. You know, I'll backflip to some DC stuff as well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say that. I'm going to say a little
bit about that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about Harley Quinn in a few minutes.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it if you want to.
Yeah, I'll just say this one last thing. Look, when does it stop though? Because how many movies have we been told, well, this isn't my version, you know? Like, how many more movies are we going to get?
I think that as long as there's studio interference, well, I think the danger of it all is this.
Studios Watso's going to come back and be like, that wasn't the movie I put out.
Studios need to be more hands off. Or they just need to stop hiring directors and they need to hire teams. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, stop. If you don't want a Zack Snyder movie, the dude's made enough movies. Watch them. You know what you're gonna get. If you don't want that, don't hire Zack Snyder.
Right.
Like, get Frank from accounting and Tina, from HR. Put them in a room together and make them write Suicide Squad. If you're gonna end up going back and doing that anyway,
right? It's pointless. And a lot of these bigwigs that make all these decisions, they're not fans of the IP.
No,
it's all about this.
Yeah,
stay the hell out of it.
The problem is if you don't understand the IP, then you don't need to be the one making decisions about it.
Right. If I don't know anything about, you know what? Let's just say one of Shane Wilson's books. A Shane Wilson book has been optioned for a film.
Yeah,
I haven't read it. I'm not familiar with it.
Right.
I should not be making any sort of decisions. What they need to do is get the Shane Wilson super fan that's on payroll.
Yeah. Well, the other problem, I think, is that too many times studios are making decisions based on the success or failure of other movies.
And you can't do that because every movie is unique. And that's another good point right there. Dude, Bandit Montgomery is just coming with the fire today.
Yeah, haymakers.
He is, man. He's throwing some Fight Night Round 3 Xbox 360 haymakers, and I love it.
So let's get into our
the Plotaholics. By the Plotaholics, many reviews to make. No time to talk. I got a minute reviews. Gonna talk about it's all right. That's okay. You may look the other way, but we can try to understand the MCU's effect on man. Whether you're a brother,
many reviews.
That's That's the remix right there for next season's mini reviews.
That was excellent.
You know what?
I always remember the scene from The Office where they're doing CPR on the dummy, and they all start dancing like.
Hey, Shane, do you think we're going to be big enough next season that maybe we can get Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake to do some Barry Gibb Plotaholics?
How much do you think it would cost to get them on Cameo to just record a Plotaholics theme song?
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up.
All right. Well, you watched just recently, yesterday, I think.
Yes,
the Harley Quinn centric film.
Birds of Play. The fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, a strong female-led and interestingly hilarious film.
I thought it was super charming and super funny.
Oh my God. To say that, number one, for me, Harley Quinn is DC's version of Deadpool in the fourth wall breaking hilarity.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I'm disappointed that I didn't have more Bruce in this film.
Yeah.
Bruce being Harley's pet hyena that we just saw. But I'll tell you the truth, I was not expecting to enjoy this movie as much as I did because
of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because of Suicide Squad. Absolutely because of Suicide Squad. And there are certain points, like as much as I enjoy Rosie Perez, I have moments where I just like, all right, enough is enough.
Yeah.
But even she was great in this. Everyone, like Mary Elizabeth Winstead, oh my goodness. If she knocked on my door right now and said, Bryan, I love you, I'd be like, let's go for a trip. I don't know where we're going, but we're going somewhere, if that's okay. But I mean, we didn't even see that much of her, but we saw it. But when she was on screen, she made it work. And I mean, oh my goodness, Jussie Smollett's little sister, who thrilled us and made us laugh during Full House, is amazing as the Canary. And my little Cassandra Cain is so great in this as well. And oh my God, Margot Robbie is a national freaking treasure. You know what? Australia, she's ours now. She's ours now.
You know, she just does such a good job in this role. And this film feels like a Margot Robbie project, right?
It does. Well, this feels like, I guess this is what Suicide Squad wanted to be, and they couldn't pull it off.
The problem is that Suicide Squad still overly sexualized her. Was not good to its female characters in general.
Not even a little.
But this film really does like correct all of those wrongs.
It really does. It really does. And you know what I really enjoyed is that all of our leads had fighting styles conducive to what fit their personalities.
Yeah.
So when Canary fought, I believed it.
Yeah.
When
that scene at the carnival at the end is so good.
I even love the fact that they really took the time to have to go through the whole hair tie thing. I even loved that.
Yeah.
That was so great.
It was.
Everyone's fighting style was so perfect for each other. And I love how they were very slowly but surely getting a cohesion. And I even love the fact where she called them do-gooder geeks at the end, because she's like, yeah, I'm not part of this.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, everything about this movie is so great. And I love what we get at the very end. Like, Margot Robbie is to Harley Quinn what Ryan Reynolds is to Deadpool, what Robert Downey Jr. is to Iron Man, what Chris Evans is to Captain America, what Chris Hemsworth is to Thor. No one else can be Harley Quinn but Margot Robbie. Anyone else tries, it sucks to be them. So DC, get as much out of her as you can for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
because matter of fact, and Hugh Jackman is what Hugh Jackman is to Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I love the Easter eggs to Suicide Squad too. Hey, I know him, and just keeps like that was so Dave Chappelle and Half Baked for me right there. So I did not expect to enjoy this movie. I thought I was going to hate it, and I loved every second of it. This is another film that I wish that I would saw in theaters, because it's amazing. I actually had a chance to go see it in theaters, and I opted not to go. I sent Sharon on her own to go see it.
Yeah, I saw this in theaters. It was one of the last movies I saw in theaters, actually. You know what the last movie was I saw in theaters, Brian?
You know, I still haven't watched that yet.
It's not bad, honestly. It's pretty good.
I do want to see that. I do. But this was so great. It was so much fun. I love the fact that we got so much more out of Harley Quinn than just being. I never once saw her in a sexual light at all in this movie because I was having too much fun watching her kick ass and be hilarious.
Yeah, I wrote an article about this for Plotaholics.com a while ago.
Yes, you did, and it was a good one.
And my thesis was that the movie works because it localized the conflict again. And comic book movies lately have gotten almost too big. But here you have like a street level sort of conflict. And I think that it really allows the characters to breathe and be what they are, you know, like they're not dwarfed by this huge, like, we've got to save the world kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it's not necessary. It's not always necessary.
No.
And you know what's really great too is that it kind of shows Batman doesn't get involved in everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Gotham City, he gets involved in some big stuff, but he doesn't get involved in every single little thing. Right. The Bat family doesn't get involved in every single little thing. So I think it was kind of cool that, you know, this kind of stayed as a local thing. I love the fact that it showed Harley sort of breaking away from the Joker and doing. I'm glad that we don't even see the Joker. I'm glad he's mentioned, but he's not there.
Like just barely. And it's not Jared Leto. It's somebody else.
Yeah. I think it's great. And Ewan McGregor, I did not think we would get something. Ewan McGregor was so. I'm actually sad that they spoiler alerted him.
Did they spoiler alerted him?
Yeah.
You know what I hate? I hate the, like, whenever articles online will be posted with the so and so, or it's like spoiler died last night, and you're like, what?
Yeah, the one scene in. Yeah, Victor Zsasz. I think that they showed enough of Victor Zsasz to give the non-initiated an idea of how horrible he is. Yeah. But I wish we could have gotten more Victor Zsasz. And yeah, that scene where Black Mask forced the woman to strip, that's a horrible, but you know, it's character building.
Yeah. And it wasn't one of those things where like in Suicide Squad where the sexuality is there just to be sexy. Like here it actually had like a character. Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, the only thing that worries me, DC is going to run into the same problem that the MCU has started to run into, where they're, spoiler alert, ending character arcs sooner than they should.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to villains.
Yes. We shouldn't end villain story arcs that easy. The reason why
can survive a movie, you know?
Yeah. And villains live to fight another day because they're villains. The heroes are the ones that are willing to fight to the death, not the villains.
Do you remember when Emperor Palpatine somehow survived 9 movies?
Yeah. Yeah, I recall that. That was an interesting arc.
It was. It's one of the only arcs that started higher than it ended.
I know, right? Even in the middle, it was better than the end.
I only have 2 quick ones to mention here, and then we'll get out of here. I'm not even going to talk too much about them. Just going to put them on your radar. This weekend, I watched The Lovebirds with Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. So funny, so good. A really great take on like the murder mystery. We have to solve the mystery so that the cops don't think that we killed this person.
So should I watch this before Stuber?
I think that this is better than Stuber, but Stuber wasn't bad.
All right, so should I watch this before Stuber then?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And then we watched also How to Build a Girl, starring Beanie Feldstein, Jonah Hill's little sister.
I love her so much.
Yeah, and this is a great film. How to Build a Girl is about a young, like, high school student who wants so bad to be a writer. She tries to get a job at a music review newspaper, and they don't like her because she's like unironically sweet. And so she reinvents herself. She dyes her hair and gets this like weird sort of fashion sense and goes in and she just starts being a bitch to everybody and they love her.
Nice.
So both of those I recommend. They are a good way to spend the evening.
All right. And Shane, in less than 24 hours, HBOMax launches. What's the first thing you're watching?
I don't even know, man. I haven't even actually subscribed to it yet. Oh no, you know what? We have subscribed to it because Michelle had HBO Go or whatever. HBO Now, yeah. So it's just going to be upgraded, I guess, next in the next 24 hours to the next thing.
I'll tell you what I'm watching.
What are you watching?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, that's great. I'll probably go to sleep to that. I'll probably be sleeping to Fresh Prince in the near future.
Nice.
I thought you would say you're going to watch all of the Fast and the Furious movies for some reason.
No. Well, I also already own them, so.
Yeah.
I do own them. You know what? As much shit as I talk on the Fast and the Furious movies now, I own them, but I do not own Hobbs and Shaw. I have some pride.
You know what I think is so funny? Like, the Fast and the Furious is another one that has to deal with that, like, continuing to ratchet up the drama every time. Because one of my favorite memes is when it's like just a reminder that this is what they were stealing in Fast and the Furious 1, and it's just VCRs. It's like TV VCR combo. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, this was just a simple petty crime and street racing. Now what are we doing? Oh, we have to find the God's Eye. Ooh.
Now, and you know what they're doing? It's the fact that Triple X got canceled. Now Vin Diesel has turned this into Triple X.
Triple X with cars.
Yeah.
I hope now this next one is the last one, right?
Who knows? Honestly,
I hope so. I figure if there's a 10th one, for some reason, John Cena is going to survive and go dumb. The only reason why I became a bad guy was because the guys from space made me. And then now we have to go to the space station to battle. Better yet, you know what the Fast and the Furious 10 is going to be? I'm calling it right now. Fast and the Furious 10 is going to be Saints Row 4. Somehow, Dominic Toretto becomes the president of the United States, and a freaking alien shows up and tries to capture them all and then blows up the earth. And he has to go through the Matrix to mess them up so that he can defeat them in one last race. Winner take all of the galaxy.
Wow. And then will Emperor Palpatine clone be there?
If it's not Emperor Palpatine clone, it'll be Keith David as a villain.
Oh, okay.
Or David Keith.
Or Keith Richards.
Or Keith Richards. It'll be David Keith, Keith David, and Keith Richards.
Yeah, against Mark Ruffalo, Janine Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Janine Garoppolo.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this season of the Plotaholics Live. Be sure that you follow us all over the internet. Plotaholics.com is your best bet to keep up with everything that we're doing over the summer. We'll scale it back a little bit for the next couple of months, but you can still catch our podcast weekly on Mondays. So thank you guys again for hanging out, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks for another great season, and we'll see you in the fall.
We are the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.